Hey gang, welcome to this month's update for our game HYPO. In this video, I'm going to summarise the progress we've made in weeks past, talk about progress that's been made just this week, and our plans for the month ahead. But first, a summary of what the game is. HYPO is an RPG with puzzle-based elements, but at this point you may as well swap those two words around. The story revolves around 4 heroes who are exploring a strange new world, encountering enemies who, for reasons undisclosed as of yet, have their attack patterns known to the player at all times. This is to sustain some of the strategic elements of an RPG battle without their unpredictability. Some of you may be curious about the name. Well, HYPO is a combination of hypochondriac and necronomicon. You'll learn more about that in the final game. On to our development, let's start with some context about what happened prior to the project itself. In April of this year, I put out an animation highlighting some of the plot of the game, but I also made short videos every day for 5 weeks. I suspect that these short multiple choice videos are where most of you came from. I expected this animation to be my final attempt at telling this story. The attempts before it were made in RPG Maker a few times. I've attempted a few 3D animations as well, but none of them really worked out. But thanks to the inspiration that Fake President by Fear of Dark gave me, and his permission to make a music video from it, thanks again by the way, I got the push that I needed to get the story animation completed. After consulting my teammates James, Michael and Ifat, we applied to Transfuser and waited. While I waited, I was taking on commissions and streaming. It was going really well. When the news came of our acceptance, we started planning right away, but didn't start our full work efforts until the week the announcement went public, and the week I shall refer to as week 1. So let's move on to that. All of the progress in week 1 was based on graphics we had created to design a mock-up for the battle system. We were really keen on getting the battle system out of the way, so this was absolutely top priority. I made a simple puzzle and an enemy to battle and demonstrated how the menu would work. The team liked what I'd done, but they were on their own tasks. James was learning Game Maker 2, which is the program we're using for the project. Ifat was taking care of paperwork and marketing, and Michael was planning some art and music. Now for week 2. This was a tough week for us as we all found ourselves with prior engagements such as work or graduation. What I did do was this mock-up for the player selection screen, which resulted in the confirmation of the playability of all 4 heroes. On week 3 we had our first physical meeting. Now, unlike most teams, we're all living a good ways apart from one another, so meeting up at our local hub frequently is difficult. I made the executive decision to pay my team's travel funds out of the team's budget, but after one meeting, we decided to keep those meetings as infrequent as possible due to the sheer cost of them. That aside, the big gameplay breakthrough this week was unfortunately one we probably won't use: the mouse-based menu. I know some people will prefer to use a mouse to select moves, but for now we're going to focus on the keyboard controls. The keyboard controls in question came into effect in week 4. This allowed us to change the skill and slot we're selecting and place a skill into the slot. We could also remove every skill from every slot with X. Some people might think it's better to remove the skills from slots individually, but it's better this way at least for now. I also considered updating our hero's appearance based on Michael's art style, but I'm putting this on hold for now. Week 5 was the big one. This week had our first big gameplay update with actual functional combat. We now have a functioning health bar, attack animations, animations for character being hit, in-game battle music, the whole lot. All that's left is more skills to choose from. Now we move on to the present. Week 6 was the start to this move toward more skills as we introduce a new enemy type: the gutter volts. People who have been following me for a long time will remember some instance of these floral machines, which I am now integrating into HYPO's universe. These enemies can take over structures built by humans and wear them as a shell, but you'll first be fighting them without any shell at all. What we see here is called a vein, and if the player doesn't manage to beat it, it'll only grow stronger. More on them next month. But for now, we're up to date, so now we're on to next month's plans. The goal is to get promotional art completed and also implement more playable heroes into the game, each with individual skills. We're also going to be adding more and more enemies so that each playthrough of the demo can be a little different. Most of our planning effort will be towards the pitch at the end of the month, which we'll want some promotional art ready for. Big thank you to our patrons over at Patreon. If you feel like it, you can join our Discord, which is in the description. But most of all, thank you very much for watching.